Hello, everyone. Thank you for your patience with us. We just arrived because we were busy on finishing up this project that we're going to just show you. So me and Paige, we had this idea because both of us started using AR tools in our workflow as AR creators. So we were like, can we build an AR filter super duper fast using just the AI tools? No handiwork allowed. Challenge accepted. So we start with the ideation stage when we generate some ideas with using ChatGPT. And we asked it 5 different ideas from which we selected just one. And then we trained ChatGPT to also become our prompt engineer. So as you can see on the slide, we have a list of different keywords that later on we used for each part of the effect to generate visuals.
Exactly, yes. You're able to now take your prompt that you asked ChatGPT for that gives you the filter idea, and then you could say to it, help me visualize this by creating a prompt that I could feed into an image generator. And it actually gave us back pretty descriptive prompts that we were able to use to generate the images. Yeah.
To the mic, yeah, oh yeah.
Sorry.
All right, so I think last year at IWE there was a similar talk. Paige was...
Yep, me and Isabel.
Isabel and another Isabel. They were doing prototyping using AI, so you generated a bunch of inspirations that then later on you incorporated for using filter creation. So we did that part as well at this project. If we go back to that slide, you can see that we selected the idea by ChatGPT. It was called Weather Wizard. We were like, okay, easy peasy, you know, it's a pretty generic idea. We can generate many assets. Should not run into any challenges. Haha. The first inspiration board that we got from Midjourney and DALL-E 3 in Bing was what you see on the screen. And then we started thinking, what other assets can we generate?
Yeah, and so we decided to start using, we were thinking, how can we make this background look three-dimensional and do something that would be the most highest quality generation? And then we found this tool called Skybox by Blockade Labs that allows you to generate skyboxes, including the depth for them, all with AI based off of a prompt. So basically, we just went into Skybox and we just typed in the prompts that ChatGPT gave us. And with that, we were able to generate these beautiful HDRI images and then turn them into cube maps, which we were able to use in Lens Studio.
Yes. So what's next? 2D asset production. You already know how much of a hype we all have with Midjourney. We actually use Midjourney, both DALL-E and Midjourney, for generating some assets. But here's the thing, like you can't just use flat pictures in augmented reality experience. It's not going to look just as good. So you have certain level of expectations. So for instance, you see the makeup on the right, which is a flat image, but pretty easily you can turn it into UV unwrap. UV is something that it's kind of like a candy has the piece that you wrap around the 3D model. So this way, when you have the image produced by Midjourney, you can sort of project it to the 3D model, and you get already made makeup.
Okay. Yep. So basically with that, we decided to jump into generating our meshes. And so now, this is where we came into a lot of challenges, because I always assumed that there was a lot of 2D to 3D AI tools available. It sounds like we're there. I see a lot of demonstrations on Instagram that looks like it's generating really fast. It turned out it's very complicated to find a really good 2D to 3D image generator. And with that, we discovered these 2 really cool tools, which was Luma and Meshy. There's a couple of other ones out there, but they're a little different because they might be a little bit of human correcting it, fixing it up and stuff like that, but we wanted to use 100% AI generated, and that's where we found these tools.
And there's another one. So actually the glasses on the slide, you see, they have pretty pure geometry, what's it called? Like, very satisfying to look at it because it's correct. That one is generated by the software called Kaidim 3D. So there was a little cheat hack here, actually, because we are not really sure how much of an AI software it is. So they claim to be AI, but there is a lot of the talk that there's people behind the scene making the 3D models. But Paige says that she was able to get a 3D model out of her drawing in just 10 minutes from that platform. So it's kind of like, who would be able to...
Who can move that fast?
Yeah, who can move that fast? You need to be Flash. Oh, wait, there's a little umbrella.
Oh, yes. Oh, it popped up.
But it's not playing, is it?
Oh, no, it's not playing. I don't know how do you get it to start? We don't know.
I think I need to exit like the slideshow so it shows. But I will have more umbrellas in the end so I can show.
Okay.
So we figure out, okay, we can't really use the 3D generation, spoiler alert, but we can still use image generation somehow that can be helpful for 3D creators. And one of the tools is image to image. As I already mentioned, those UV maps, they can be face makeup, they can be the wings of butterfly. You can run them through different AI tools and get the variation of the same picture, but like the key element will be locked. So like the eyes will be in place, the mouth, and the nostrils will be in place. It's just the level of details that starts varying. So this way you can get endless variations of UV maps for your 3D models. And that's how we got some of the makeups done. The other helpful technique that kind of works right now is depth extraction. So it's a little bit cheating again. You get the 3D model, but what you end up doing is that you subdivide the plane by 100 times, you get some geometry out of it, and then this map on the left, which is from white to black, it gives the information to the software on how much you want to displace. So you get just that kind of surface level of details, kind of like you can see on the coin when you engraving something. And it already looks pretty much 3D when you put it in the AR software. Unless it's like not rotating, you can't really see. And the third and the most helpful technique that I figured out while I was doing this project is the Dream Texture plugin for Blender, which allows you to generate UV textures directly on the 3D models. It allows you to dream the textures on the complete 3D scene, and allows you to also modify with the AI generator the renders you get out of the 3D software. By just typing the text prompt, like here, mountain villa. So the helpful technique that we realized that not work is the 3D generation. In here, you can see some 3D model production of Luma AI. Of course, they're still learning, and I'm pretty sure they're going to get better. But this is the type of model we got out of it.
Yes. And you could probably, if you could guess some of our prompts, we were just looking for an umbrella, which it gave this very interesting depth to. We were looking to create an island, floating island. It just looked a little bit cartoony. And the last one that was Jesus was actually a sun prompt. We asked for a sun. But the extra arm, we don't know where that came from.
No. So the only thing was left to do is to put all the things together in Lens Studio. We chose that software because it was handy in terms of all the templates and things you can directly import. You don't need to build things from scratch. Like we mentioned in the beginning that we generated some cube maps. Lens Studio allowed us to put them to the project easy peasy. Otherwise, you would need to generate the whole geometry of the sphere, UV unwrap it, imported it, and they're on. So Lens Studio made it super easy for us. Thank you. And this is the little result of our experiment. We spent less than 24 hours building this. That's the result.
Yeah, so as you could see, everything that we used is AI. We barely did any editing to anything that you see here. It's just straight out of AI because we wanted to be as authentic as possible to trying to see what the capabilities and the extensions and limitations are of augmented reality, of artificial intelligence at this time.
So our reflection to this, you want to start with your reflections?
Yes, so When we first started this project, I really thought that there was going to be so many perfect tools available to create assets that we needed, from the 3D models to 2D textures and everything like that. And I realized as we were going that a lot of the tools that I thought were out there really aren't that ready yet, or they're just not available to be able to use. So we really were surprised by that.
Yeah. One other thing that we figured out, because we came to this project with the expectation that it's going to save us some time. And yeah, we did build something in less than 24 hours, yes. But the amount of work we put just into the generation and waiting for the renders to come out of the AI generation and just kind of trying to bring it to some kind of cohesive stylistic, so it's unified and it looks as a whole, that took a lot of time. And I'm not sure that on the real project I would use all the AI tools. I would definitely augment my workflow, but in this challenge became actually our own limitation.
Exactly. We really realized that AI might be amazing, and I mean, it is incredible what it's capable of, but it's very hard to make everything cohesive when you're using a variety of different platforms to generate things. And so we realized that that's where you really still need human artists to come in, because they can create this cohesive flow across all the assets, from the backgrounds to the textures to the 3D models. And so it was a really interesting learning experience for us with that.
And besides that, if you actually want to get some kind of unified result from AI generation, you need to get another skill to your portfolio, which is called prompt engineering. So learning all the parameters in AI generators and to learn what they do and how to use them, it takes some time. But in the end, it's rewarding to get the results out of it. Did we cover all of it?
I think so.
Yeah, so we were super happy with cube maps and 2D images and those little life hacks that we've showed you, the techniques, how to make 3D out of 2D. We were really disappointed and still in the level of 3D and learning that KaiDim is not fully AI. And yeah, that's it. Questions?
Thank you very much. And I mean, it's really fascinating. I think that everybody here has at some point, I think, experimented and tried to implement this in their own workflow and figuring out that are we there, are we not there, right? And to what extent can we right now actually drive the process and not go with it? Because that is one important thing. Right now it's, okay, I want to create this using AI, but what if I have AI, what can I create with it? And that's kind of like a different approach, right? Mm-hmm. It's more like being using AI as co-creator instead of saying, AI, do this for me. And that's going to say, no way. Mm-hmm. That's how I very much experience. But maybe questions from the audience. I see first hand here. Do we have a microphone here?
Yeah.
Go ahead, then I will repeat the questions. Go.
Okay, my name is Stefan. I'm community doing VR experiences for the safety industry. And I just wonder what you would think about if you do the same project in about 1 year. Is it just a matter of time, or do you think it's never ever going to get results?
I hope I see you next year at this conference and we do the AI talk again. But yeah, I believe it's going to get only better. I must say that without Lens 2D, we would not be able to put the thing together, and also it was still a lot of manual labor involved to edit those assets. So you don't just get the assets and then you put it directly to the software. You still need to Photoshop, retouch, da-da-da-da-da. So of course, I hope the tools are going to get better, but right now we have so many different ones, and they exactly that was the problem. They give in very different aesthetics and stylistics. So altogether, putting them, it doesn't look good just because it's out of different models.
Yeah, and at the same time, I think that in maybe a year or 2 years from now, I think they're going to get much better with that. Like the same way that we saw Midjourney go from being just kind of like an abstract drawing to something that's like really photographic or exact to your prompt now. I feel like with 3D modeling in like the next maybe year or two, it's just going to continue to improve.
And it's like, I think you can really make the analogy here with also with Googling, like with search engines. Like, right, there's people that know how to get the full potential of searching with the right keywords and how to talk to search engines. And there's just people that pretty much say, like, how do I get from place A to place B? And that's going to be the case for majority of people who's going to use AI tools. And then there's going to be designers who also nailed down the prompt engineering, and they're pretty good.
I believe there was another question from the audience there. Wait, the mic is coming.
Yay.
Thanks.
Hi, thank you, first of all, for doing this research. I think it's really interesting. Quick question. You mentioned the need to make everything more cohesive once you've made all these prompts. So how editable are all these files if we do need to have somebody go in to try to make everything more cohesive? Like, are usually these tools like giving us files that we can edit?
Yeah. So, I mean, if you start learning these kind of techniques with AI generation, there is such thing as reverse engineering. So you might find like an image on Google, like Google search, right? And for instance, drop it to Midjourney and use command define, and we'll give you like 4 different text description, like what it thinks is described on the image using text. So this way you can sort of also start learning how does computer see the image versus how you see it.
Right. But I meant more like actually editing a 3D file. If we edit, like if we AI generate a 3D file or an image, can we then go in and actually like...
Oh, yeah. So you upload the image and you get the 3D out of it.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yes.
And with like our cube maps, for example, like being able to edit, we saw some, we were like, this looks so, it looks close, but it's not exactly what we wanted. We were able to go and take the same prompt and just like slightly tweak it. We were also able to go into Photoshop and use generative fill on some of like the face makeups and stuff like that, or textures or assets, and be able to add more to it. Like, for example, our islands were kind of flat at the bottom, so we wanted it to look like floating islands, like in Avatar or something, so we put that in Photoshop. We were able to use the generative AI to be able to add that additional rock to it without still drawing it ourselves. So there's a lot of tools out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
More questions?
Other
Oh, yeah.
question, yes. Down
And
there.
It's just a quick question. I don't know if you have the results of the experiment published somewhere that we could just go through.
Can you speak louder, please?
It's just a short question. I don't know if you have the results of the experiment published somewhere.
Oh, yes, it's coming soon.
Yeah, this is coming today, as
Yes.
soon as we figure out one bug.
There was a question there. Thank you very much for all the running.
Hi, I'm from Seoul, Korea, and thank you for your presentation. And I have a little question about, before doing the project, how proficient were you in software like Blender or Photoshop, like 3D modeling?
Yeah, I've been working with Photoshop for about 15 years, and I mostly specialized in digital compositing, like basically doing exactly what generative fill does now. I did all by hand. So I just realized it's an incredible tool. It just saves so much time, but it's still, you always have to think, what's your original intention as an artist, and like, would it be better if I still did this by hand? Sometimes it doesn't do exactly what you want. And for 3D modeling, I've been working with Blender for about 3 years. I make characters and animations and stuff like that, and you're very experienced in programs like that as well, right?
Yeah, I come from game development. Initially, my background, like my studies was in the game development, and I've been in the scene for 5-6 years as well. So yeah, like we are earning our income by doing this.
Other questions?
Yeah, there's
Oh,
more.
I got another one.
Good questions, though.
Yes.
Yes, go ahead. Try again.
No, it works.
Yay.
Yay. Yeah, I'm so sorry if you already said this, but if you had to automate or use AI for one of the steps in the whole production workflow, which one would you choose today?
That's a good question. You want to take
I
first
guess,
take?
yeah, sure. So I love, I first Well, I guess there's really two, if I could say two, that I love the most. One is just for concepts. It's just so wonderful for mood boarding or coming up with concepts for, especially for AR filters, is so imaginative. And the second is the skybox generation for the cube maps. It just really creates a very beautiful, high quality, high depth environment. So those two are my favorite.
Yeah, for me personally, I can see this as a potential benefit using AI for inspiration and concepting, but also limiting, because as it's a model and it's been trained to a certain data set, it's always going to give you a certain range of the works, and you kind of limit your creativity in a way, but then you're not. And then also AI gives you a lot of organic and difficult forms, which are really hard to realize in 3D. So for me, the favorite part is going to be still in the future when we can automate the 3D creation.
So, I have one more, and I think this is going to take the last question.
Thank you. I'm curious about how much money was spent on the project.
I mean, only the cost of subscriptions to like Photoshop, right?
Yes.
Lens Studio is free.
And I think that the Skybox is a subscription to
Yeah?
that one. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it though, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Plus the time, I imagine.
Yes, a lot.
and then, you know, of course, if we would pay ourselves for doing this, but
It would be like, you know, like $1 million or something.
1 million. No. So, guys, ladies, thank you very much. And by the way, I also want to take the opportunity to thank all the speakers for today. I've chaired this session. My name is Gabriele Romagnoli, and we'll hand over to Aicha, the next chair. And actually, it sounds like a great moment also to hand over. I'm very passionate about XR and the AI. So, and I think if I can add one thing that also curious is, there is right now a lot of also AI-enabled motion tracking, retargeting, rigging, and skinning. That is also like very interesting. And in that case, the consistency, it becomes less of a problem because it's in terms of visual consistency.
Yeah.
So
Yes, I actually used, I used Deep Motion recently for a project for a client, and the client wanted these really high fidelity animations where I was, you know, it was for my client for brats, and they wanted to have their characters posing for photos and stuff, and sitting and blowing kisses and all that stuff, and they wanted very specific animations, and I was able to do it myself, and it took maybe 15 minutes.
yeah.
that's it. So this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
So I think thank you very much. Another round of applause.